Antonio Brown has been involved in more headlines than any other NFL player since the end of the 2018 season. Is he the first player in league history to orchestrate departures from two different teams in a matter of months? We think so. Brown has been involved in some very strange incidents on and off the field, and he doesn't seem to care about it. So we figure now's the time to look back on the chronicles of Antonio Brown. You know, the weird, wacky stuff. Before we get started, we just wanted to point out that the lawsuits and serious allegations involving Brown were not featured in this video. We don't have the full information and facts on these cases, so we're limiting this list to strictly stuff that we do know AB has done. So let's dive into it. Number 13, passing gas in Doc's face. No one likes to take a Windy City rumbler right in the face, especially while they're working, and especially when you're a freaking doctor. Well, apparently Antonio Brown doesn't care, because when he eats a lot of fiber, he just can't control his flatulence. AB's former doctor was once a victim of an AB toxic gas raid, and it was actually caught on camera.
I've done some bodybuilders, and this is pretty freaking low. I gotta stay away. Damn, bad. Damn.
A friend recorded Brown passing gas in Dr. Victor Prisk's face. Prisk also accuses Brown of failing to pay his bills, which is another dumb move from AB. But it's the face fart that makes this list in the 13th spot. I mean, come on, man, how old are you? Number 12, threatening to punch ESPN reporter. Brown has obviously never had a great relationship with the media. He was tense with multiple reporters during his time with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He also got into some trouble for not talking to the media after his debut with the Patriots in Week 2 of the 2019 season. Jesse Washington, a writer for the Undefeated at ESPN, wrote a story about Brown, detailing his use of social media. An angry Brown took to Twitter and threatened to punch Washington in the jaw. Brown deleted the tweet, but everybody knows that once something is put on the internet, it stays there forever. Brown would apologize for the incident in a statement, acknowledging that it's not right to threaten anyone and that he needed to have better control. I know it's only Twitter, but this type of stuff is never a good look for an athlete. That's why sometimes it's just better to stay off Twitter altogether. Number 11, quitting on his Steelers teammates. Both Brown and Ben Roethlisberger deserve blame for breaking up the Killer Bees. Yes, Ben didn't need to be so critical of his teammates. But seeing how big a troublemaker Brown has been throughout his career, it's amazing that Roethlisberger was able to stay patient with him for all those years. No matter whose side you're on, we can all probably agree that nobody should ever quit on their team during the season. Brown did, though, leading up to Pittsburgh's Week 17 2018 home game against the Cincinnati Bengals, a must-win contest in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. Reports outline that Roethlisberger and Brown clashed during a practice, with the star receiver throwing the football at the direction of his quarterback before leaving. He skipped the rest of the team's practices that week, leaving Mike Tomlin no choice but to bench him. The Steelers won the game anyway, but their season ended when the Baltimore Ravens clinched the AFC North with a victory over the Cleveland Browns. Still, Brown owed it to his teammates to show up and play the final game. This was an organization that drafted Brown before turning him into a star, and he quit on them and left behind a complicated legacy in Pittsburgh. Brown was unquestionably going to have his number retired by the Steelers at the time, but now we're sure this historic and iconic organization will do all they can to forget about him. He doesn't deserve any post-career honors from this team after quitting on them and forcing his way out. Number 10, lost and found with his Rolls Royce. In October 2018, Channel 11 News, WPXI, was able to obtain a series of strange police reports involving Brown. Officers of the Sunny Isles Beach Police Department responded to a call from the Pro Bowl wideout on April 25, 2018. Brown told authorities that his Rolls Royce had been stolen. The police report outlines that when officers arrived at his home, Brown opened the door and said, "I found the car." He then closed the door, and police reportedly failed to gain contact with Brown again about the incident. So who knows what happened there? Was Brown just playing a game? Did he forget that he left the car somewhere? Did a friend or family member borrow it without telling him? Either way, Brown didn't give police full details on how he found the car, so the whole thing was just kind of weird. Number 9 is excuse for speeding. Prior to a 2018 Thursday night home game against the Carolina Panthers, Brown was pulled over by police for speeding on McKnight Road in Pittsburgh. He was driving in excess of 100 miles per hour in a 45-mile-per-hour zone. Police were reportedly searching for bank robbers in the area, so Brown's getaway vehicle caught their eye. He was not related to the incident at all, however. Still, Brown was found guilty of reckless driving and had to pay a fine. According to a police official, Brown told police that he was speeding because he was late for a Steelers team meeting. Well, we asked Brown this question: why make yourself late in the first place to the point where you'd have to go over double the posted speed limit? Well, you know, they say that Mike Tomlin was too easy going on Brown. The latter caught 6 passes for 96 yards and a touchdown in a 52-21 victory over Carolina that evening. So at least the traffic didn't stop him from having another dominant performance on national television. Number 8, super kicking Spencer Lanning. The Pittsburgh Steelers hosted the Cleveland Browns in Week 1 of the 2014 season, and though it was an exciting back-and-forth shootout, AB stole the spotlight entirely with a dirty move. Brown was returning a punt in the second quarter, and he looked to have a fairly clean path to the end zone. Instead, he switched gears and tried hurdling over Browns punter Spencer Lanning, but instead of hurdling him, Brown wound up kicking Lanning square in the face. Brown was hit with a 15-yard unnecessary roughness penalty, plus a mere $8,200 fine. After that, Brown never super kicked a punter in the face again, so at least he learned his lesson in that regard. Number 7, admitting to cheating in GQ interview. It's well known that a large portion of athletes cheat on their partners, and in a lot of cases, the athlete's partner might be understanding of that, as long as the player is stealth about it. But in a 2018 interview with GQ, Brown was a little too open about his infidelity. He described it in some rather odd terms. Brown is a father of 5 children, 3 of them with a longtime girlfriend, Chelsea Chris. Brown's featured story in GQ ended with the following quote, "Being my best self every day, being a good leader, being a good father figure, being consistent with the kids, the family, working on being a better boyfriend, but it's kind of hard to keep it in my pants," end quote. Literally nobody in the world needed to know that. Not Chelsea, not his family, not his friends, not his teammates, absolutely nobody. But thanks for sharing anyway, AB. Number 6, Facebook live streaming Steelers locker room. The Pittsburgh Steelers defeated the Kansas City Chiefs on the road in the 2016 AFC divisional round, punching a trip to the AFC Championship game against the longtime rival New England Patriots. In the NFL, teams have a simple rule which doesn't need any reminding. What's said in the locker room stays in the locker room. But Brown was so excited about this win that he streamed the Steelers post-game celebration on Facebook Live, and the world got to hear head coach Mike Tomlin drop some unkind comments about the Patriots. Tomlin can be heard referring to the Patriots as an expletive term that starts with the letter A. Tomlin also said the Steelers would be ready for their expletive, and as you'd imagine, that kind of pissed off the Patriots. Pittsburgh was not ready to handle Tom Brady and company, as the Patriots cruised to an easy 36-17 victory, so Tomlin didn't look so smart in saying such harsh things about the Patriots. Mind you, those comments were supposed to stay in the locker room. The Steelers hit Brown with a $10,000 fine, but the embarrassment and the crushing defeat to Pittsburgh was really what mattered most here. Brown put a ton of eggs on the faces of this prideful organization. Not cool, AB. Number 5, frostbite incident. Brown's brief stint with the Oakland Raiders was loaded with controversy and strange incidents, but his frostbite saga is something you'd expect to see in a science fiction film, not in national sports lines. In August 2019, reports said that Brown suffered frostbite after entering a cryotherapy machine in France. Brown wasn't wearing proper footwear while in the machine, which led to frostbite on both of his feet. Brown had to miss some practice sessions as he dealt with the injury, and that was pretty much the beginning of the end of his tenure in Oakland. Number 4, temper over league helmet. Brown wore the Shutt Air Advantage helmet in his career, but the company had stopped building those models years ago. The Shutt Air Advantage is not certified by the National Athletic Equipment Reconditioners Association, so Brown wasn't allowed to wear it any longer. This did not sit well with Brown, and he responded by threatening to retire. The Raiders tried accommodating Brown by finding different helmet models for him, but AB wouldn't wear anything they presented. Brown filed a pair of grievances against the NFL, but neither were successful. Sure enough, he got over his tantrum and rejoined the Raiders with a new helmet. Number 3, leaking recorded phone call with John Gruden. Amid rumors that the Raiders were going to cut ties with Brown, the All-Pro wideout published a video on YouTube that included a recorded phone call between him and Coach Gruden. The video includes Gruden asking Brown to quit with the antics and to just play football. In this instance, Brown seemed to forget about Johnny Law. In the state of California, it's illegal to record phone calls without the consent of all parties. That carries a maximum 1-year jail sentence in the state. Luckily for Brown, Gruden approved of the video and actually loved it. Plus, Gruden's probably too nice of a guy to press charges against a former player of his. Still, it was a weird thing for Brown to do, and it was weird to post the video since he forced the Raiders to release him shortly after it was published. Number 2, challenging Mike Mayock. The Raiders hired Mike Mayock to take over as their new GM at the end of the 2018 season. He and Gruden traded for Brown in the offseason, and they even awarded the star receiver with a $50 million contract that included $30 million guaranteed. But Brown created so much unnecessary drama during his brief stint with the Raiders. The boiling point took place just days before the start of the Raiders season. According to a report from Josina Anderson of ESPN, Brown confronted Mayock after being hit with a fine. AB called Mayock a and angrily shouted at him. Multiple Raiders had to step in and hold Brown back. Mayock was reportedly calm and tried to ease the tension. Brown would apologize and looked ready to finally play Raiders football. However, He took to Instagram and demanded that the Raiders release him. They fulfilled his request, and Brown was signed by the New England Patriots shortly after. Not the most mature way to orchestrate your exit from a team, but anyway. Number 1, trashed apartment and police call incident. We previously discussed AB's incident when he called the police about the missing Rolls-Royce in April of 2018. Well, that was only one of the handful of strange events involving Brown and the Sunny Isles Beach Police Department. According to a police report, Brown called them in April 2018, claiming that $80,000 and a pistol were missing from his apartment in Florida. On a separate occasion, Brown called police and complained about the apartment security personnel, accusing them of setting him up. An angry Brown reportedly threw furniture from the 14th floor balcony, nearly hitting a 22-month-old child in the process. The family of the young boy filed a lawsuit against Brown and outlined that Brown only missed the child and the grandfather by a couple of feet. The owner of the apartment building also sued Brown for destroying the property. You really can't make this stuff up. What are some of the other strange incidents involving Antonio Brown? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If you're new here and you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to do that. If you like the video, then like the video. We'd really appreciate it. And last but not least, don't forget to tune into the TPS every single day for more cool videos.